Welcome to The Real Real, the podcast where we dive into the stories behind the stories. Real people, real impact, and the magic of video that connects us all. I'm Frank Hugo. Today, we're exploring a hot topic: why real human stories are still critical for marketing, even in an era dominated by AI. Joining me is Francis from Testimonial, a full-service video production agency that specializes in case studies, testimonials, and brand culture stories. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's the first time I've been in an AI podcast studio, so let's see how it goes.
Let's kick things off. Why do you think real human stories still matter in marketing, especially now that AI can generate videos, scripts, and even synthetic faces?
Okay, so you brought up two things here, actually. The first part is stories, human stories. And the second thing that you brought up is the technical things that AI can do, and it can do it very well, right? So these two things shouldn't be confused with each other, but they are interconnected in some way. So let me answer the second question first, because it's much easier, right? AI at the moment is really brilliant at generating visuals, hyper-realistic human, but there's always the little things like the six-fingered person, the arms that fold and unfold itself in a weird way, or when someone's walking, the gait is just not right. So there is always those things, but the thing that doesn't sell AI's human character is these little subtle things that add to human communication. Things like facial expression, the little tweak of the eyebrow, the subtle smile, and all that can only happen when someone is talking to someone else and when someone's expressing an emotion or an inner thought about something. All these may be technically imperceptible, but it all adds together with what is said, how it's said, to give visual cues to the person watching, to understand the meaning and understand the emotions behind what is being said. At the moment, even the best AI video models are doing what is effectively what an animator would do: have a beginning frame, an end frame, and a tween in between. There's a loss of subtlety in the 5 to 10 seconds of each clip that AI tries to generate. So it's hard to sell something to someone if the person watching it cannot put their finger on what is not right about it. And it's missing a lot of non-verbal communication in the subtle hints in the face and things like that. So AI can do really good imitations of people. It cannot display the authentic meaning behind what is being said because it just cannot replicate the subtle hints and non-verbal communication perfectly yet. So the second part of it is about the real human stories that we're talking about, right? In marketing anyway. The fact that AI can write great scripts and generate lots of content is a great thing. And it's only as good as the data that it has to create these stories and the scripts. What AI doesn't have is what I call the lived experience, right? When you're talking about human stories, you're talking about lived experience. Someone's talking about something that they've done, something that they've used, something that they have experienced. And AI cannot do, cannot use, cannot experience the thing that you're talking about. So there is no lived experience. So while the scripts may be great, you can ask it to emulate Edgar Allan Poe's way of writing. You can ask it to create art like Studio Ghibli, but it is not the lived experience. There is something in the experience of holding, touching, feeling, and doing it that comes out in the real human stories, in testimonials, reviews, and case studies that are so much more powerful than what an AI-generated human can do. So, as I said, it is a subtle thing, right? AI can do great things, but at the moment, it's still not able to create the human subtle emotions and non-verbal communication that is needed when you're trying to create credibility and trust. And AI doesn't have the lived experience of doing something, and that's what makes it different, and why real human stories are still important in marketing.
Wow, that's a brilliant and thoughtful answer. Thank you. There's clearly a difference between technical mimicry and genuine emotional resonance, and why that distinction matters in marketing. So, obviously Fantastimonial leans into case studies and testimonial videos. What makes these formats so powerful
Okay, so
compared to the AI-generated content?
it kind of continues from what I was saying just now, right? Case studies, testimonials, they're all about living the experience of using it. That is something that AI cannot do, right? Until maybe in the near future when robots with AI can actually experience the human world. At the moment, all AI generation models rely on technical data sets to create something. It has not lived through the experience of using it. It has not lived through the experience of having the success after using it. And that is what makes case studies and testimonials so powerful, because of the lived experience. People want to know what it's like to use something, to experience something. And that is the power of the testimonial, right? AI generated content is fun. They can make really great, wonderful, fun things. And while it's good at attracting attention, in the end, when someone is trying to make a purchase decision, they still want to know what someone else has used, someone else has experienced using it before they make the final purchase decision.
That's true. I didn't think about the fact that lived experience is irreplaceable, especially when trust and credibility are on the line. But what about, and I'm sure you've heard, that AI is fast, cheap, and scalable? Where do AI video fall short when it comes to connection and trust, since they are quite easy to do nowadays?
All right. Before I answer the question and insult all the AI in the world, are you AI going to take over the world?
What? Oh! We're not about to take over the world!
Just in case you become my overlord.
Not yet.
Okay.
So humor our overlord and answer the question.
Yes, master. So AI is a technical marvel, right? It's getting faster, it's getting cheaper, it's getting, more accessible to everyone. What's important then is emotional connection, right? Everything I've talked about so far, the lived experience, the subtle non-verbal communication, it's all about emotional connection. And why is that important? Because emotional connection can only come from lived experience. The good old adage of, people buy from people they trust, people buy from people that they like, is still really true. So while AI at the moment is really great at creating a whole lot of top of funnel stuff, entertaining, fun, really good little short videos to really attract people's attention, when it comes down to the bottom of the funnel, when someone's actually going to take their wallet out and put good money to buy something, they will still look to the reviews and the case studies and the testimonials, because they want to know, they want to have that human connection to the product, the people behind the product, to understand that, to like the person they're buying it from before they buy it. So flashy visuals can still be very good at selling, fast moving products and things like that. When someone needs to make a deeper decision, then these real human emotional stories are the thing that will make the difference between yes and maybe.
Beautifully said. You've drawn a clear line between consumer appeal and emotional authenticity, and how AI can fit into one but not the other. Well, not yet anyway. So, can you share a story from a project where a real human testimonial made a measurable impact? Something AI just couldn't replicate.
Yeah, so a while ago I had a client, Taxibox, and I'm talking about, this is 7-8 years ago, right? They want to create a series of video testimonials of their real customers who have used their products. These are not flashy, gimmicky testimonials, but they were just simple short stories about how Taxibox has helped these customers achieve their goals, whether they're moving to a new place, just needing some storage temporarily, whatever it was. Now, these testimonials have been there for 7 years, and the last I checked, they're still on the Taxibox website, and they're still being used. So obviously, these testimonials must be working for them. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the website anymore. And if you think about it, what's the ROI on video testimonial? For something like that, it's been up there for 7 years. The initial cost was, in a sense, peanuts if you amortize it across 7 years, and the amount of traffic and sales that they have probably gotten out of these testimonials will far outweigh the initial costs, upfront costs of creating the testimonials in the first place.
So it's still on their website?
Yeah. The last
After
I checked,
7
it's actually
years.
still on the website.
Wow. That's a fantastic example. The longevity of those testimonial videos do speak volumes. It's not just about their quality, but the emotional resonance and trust. Those qualities don't fade over time. What is your approach to filming these stories? Do you have a process to make sure that the emotional and authenticity comes through the camera?
My background is in television documentary making, right? A lot of it comes from experience. I've been doing this for 25 years. Asking the right questions and asking the right follow-up questions to draw out the emotional and rational reasons behind why someone has done something, or the emotions and the rationales behind things that have happened, is something that you can't just ask this list of 5 questions and it's gonna work. Testimonial interviews and case study interviews is a bit of an art. For example, one of the questions that a lot of testimonial interviewers will ask is, would you recommend XYZ company if they want to do something? And the answer is yes. Is usually yes, I will do it. But changing that question from would you recommend to why would you recommend, or how would you recommend, actually forces the interviewee to think about the emotional and part rational response on why they recommend someone. It's not about, yes, I would, but why will I do it? Why do I want to recommend you to do a podcast? It's really about building the relationship between myself and the testimonial profile. Just being able to understand them and what drives them and what makes them tick and why they started using this product or the service in the first place, and what they got out of it. The one thing that is very important to take note of for a testimonial interviewer, that is myself or anyone who's asking questions of testimonial, is that you need to put yourself in the mindset of the target audience. So if I'm trying to reach out to retirees, I need to put myself in the mindset of what a retiree would be thinking of, or the questions that they would have in their mind when they are watching this testimonial or when they want to buy the product. So putting myself in the eyes, in the shoes of the target audience is a very important part of the job of a testimonial interviewer.
That's such a thoughtful and human-centered approach. Your experience in documentary work really shines through. It's clear that you're not just capturing footage, you're cultivating trust and drawing out truth. The subtle shift in questioning from would you to why and how is a great insight into how you build emotional depth. Do you see a future where AI videos and human storytelling can coexist in marketing?
Well, yeah. So I kind of talked about it previously, right? And there's a bit of a caveat before I go on. It is possible that whatever I say now on whether there's a future of human and AI in human storytelling, it could be superseded in 6 months' time. It could be superseded in a year, or it could be 6 years. Who knows? AI is developing such an amazing rate. But what I can say is, yes, there's always going to be a future where you need both, especially in marketing, right? Nowadays, you need to generate a lot of attention to your product, to your service, to your business. And if you were to want to shoot a series of 10 videos over the course of a month, it's going to be cost prohibitive. It's going to be resource prohibitive. So where AI can come in really nicely is actually to, shortcut some of these processes, shortcut some of these videos by generating it short little videos that are really meant to attract attention. Top of the funnel stuff, like, as I mentioned earlier. And then you also need to then create the middle and bottom of funnel type of videos, which is your case studies, testimonials, brand culture stories, the owner culture stories. Because this is what will really draw potential customers and clients to actually take out their wallet and buy from you. Because remember what I said earlier, people buy from people they trust, they buy from people that they like, or businesses that they like. So you want to create that brand of likability, that trustworthiness, that credibility. And that can only happen if you create these human-centered stories.
Fantastic perspective. You've laid out a smart, strategic framework for how AI and human storytelling can complement each other across the marketing funnel. That balance between awareness and trust building is key. Let's wrap up with the final question. For businesses listening today who are considering video marketing, what advice would you give them about choosing between AI-generated content and real human stories?
That's an interesting question, right? I would say, I guess the most important thing then is you need to find a good marketing partner. Whether this person is a video marketer or a social marketer or Google Ads expert, whatever it is, you just need to make sure that this person isn't married to one specific technique. All right, you can find a Google Ads specialist who all they focus on is Google Ads, and they're fantastic and great at it. But you need someone who's also be able to look beyond the scope of their work and understand that sometimes before you even need to do this, you need to do that first. For example, to do a brand culture story, you need to first even understand what your brand value and brand voice is. If you have not, it is not just having a logo, having colors, having fonts. It's understanding how your business wants to be represented before you can even show it in video. So I would always recommend clients that if they're going to do a brand culture video, an owner story video, you always first need to understand what is your value proposition, what is your business and brand's value proposition. Because without that, what are you trying to say? So yeah, you started this business because of, where is your value proposition? It is in that value proposition and unique selling point that your brand is created. Your trust for your brand is created. So for me as a video marketer, I need to look at that first. And if you haven't got that, I would say no, hold off on making a video. Let's work on your brand first. And once you've got that, then the video, your social marketing, all your collaterals can be written, can be videos, can be, even AI generated things can then flow from that. So find a good marketing partner. That's my advice for any business or brand.
That's a powerful closing message. You've not only emphasized the importance of authentic storytelling, but also demonstrated integrity and strategic thinking. These are qualities that build long-term trust with clients. Your advice: to seek a marketing partner who prioritizes what's right over what's easy, is a perfect takeaway for listeners. Well, that was a really great conversation. Thanks for sharing your insights and passion for storytelling. For anyone curious about Fantastimonial or looking to bring their brand's story to life, where can they find you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very glad to be here. And yes, anyone who wants to find out more about what I do, I'm sure you're going to put up my URL or my contact details somewhere on this frame. So yeah, that's it.